You. Yo. Good afternoon. How are you guys? Welcome to Vinyl Junkies. I hope that this is streaming. Everything around me seems to tell me that it's streaming property. It actually means that I'm getting good at this. Not good enough that there's no mistakes or nothing like that. I mean, come on, let's not be silly either. But, you know, it's starting to come together. So I hope you guys had a good week. And I hope that this broadcast finds you well, brothers and sisters. Hermanos y hermanas. Is that the way it goes? That's the way it goes. So, why don't we just kind of get started and tell you what's up. First thing I'll do is get started with the pre-rolls. Okay? Because sponsors, they matter, and we'll get through them. First off, share. You want to win records? Seriously, do you want to win records? Of course you want to win records. The reason you want to win records is because it's cool. Sorry, I do have shit happening over here in the background, so until I'm 100% sure that this is actually working properly, you're going to catch me kind of fucking up, okay? Ooh, I think I found it. Awesome. So yeah, look, this is obviously brought to you by Vinyl Me Please, our friends at Vinyl Me Please. They're the ones who are making these prizes available, so do yourselves a favor, man. If you like this type of broadcasting, what you do is you share this shit with your friends, Romans, and countrymen, okay, in the name of vinyl love. And once you share it with everybody, then what you do is you pick a prize. And there's a link there, right? So what you do is you click that link and you pick something. And then, you know what I do? I'm like fucking Santa Claus. I give shit out. So I will pick one of you for a record. The record you picked. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, it's amazing. So that's courtesy of Vinyl Me Please. We are also grateful, such great gratitude to Org Music. Fantastic labels. I love them so much because, you know why? Can I tell you why I love Org Music so much? It is simply because they shine new light on seminal recordings from vinyl catalogs like CTI, Sun Records, Black Lion, and the Atlantic and Columbia Jazz catalogs. That's why I love them so much. Okay? Now, if you go to orgmusic.com, they'll even give you 10%. You go there, you just put in VJ Live, and you get yourself a 10%. I'll be speaking about, I'll eventually be speaking about a Charlie Feathers record that's coming out, part of the Sun releases that they do, and some Black Friday releases, including maybe some interviews. We're working on it, okay? That's all coming. Vinyl Style are also super awesome, and I really need a drink, man. This cough is making me crazy. So, give me a sec, all right? What, do you think I don't recycle? I recycle me. May I recycle? You think I need the green bins? I recycle me. So, Vinyl Style. I'll be speaking quite a bit more about them because I'm all in on the stuff that they provide. They tag themselves as vintage solutions for the modern era. Vinyl Style provides the highest level of sustainability for your records and accessories, while most importantly remaining affordable. Protect your collection with Vinyl Style today. Vintage solutions for the modern era. I've got a bunch of their product, and we're going to make some videos on it in the Vinyl 101 type category, and we'll make them available also in the Vatican gift shop at some point. But we're not there. This cough is making me so fucking mental. You have no idea. Where's a lozenge when you need it? What do I think? I need a lozenge? I mean, it's not like I'll be speaking, you know, for the next hour or so. I mean, You know, why would I need a lozenge? Fucking dumbass. I got lozenges. I should have gotten lozenges. And then, look, rent out Groove, man. And I don't have any cool tagline, but I will be talking about 2 of their releases because a really cool rent out Groove box came in this week, and I get to tell you about it. Maybe if some of you have visited your record store, you will have seen this stuff. It's all coming. So yeah, that's let's go on. What is next on this agenda of mine? Vinyl Pets? No. October stats. All right, listen. October stats. You guys, I guess we can still say that it's the very beginning of, you know, this Vinyl Junkies format, but the whole thing started in late May sometime when I turned on a camera because I kept getting asked what Vinyl Junkies is and decided to just say it rather than write it. And it kind of took off from there, and I've enjoyed it. And it's fun to be able to do this every week. So where am I going? You see, what happened is I just completely blanked, so I can imagine what the audience must be like. But yeah, what am I trying to say here? The October stats is what it is that I'm talking about. You see? Isn't it good that I take notes? I mean, yeah, there's some kind of like uncomfortable pauses, but you know, I realize this show is missing something to fill in the gaps of your life when there's a little bit of silence. Do you understand? So, fret not, dear friends. It is time for me to regale you. Lucien! You will listen and you will like it. Lucien fucking rocks my world. Lucien Bedard. Would you look at that cover back there? Him doing his quadrilles. We are listening to quadrilles right now. French-Canadian quadrilles. Courtesy of Lucien Bedard. Lucien! Everyone asks for Wilf, you know? It frustrates me. You guys, I understand Wilf, but hey. Let's... This here. This is our Quebecois counterpart, and you should pay respect to him. Yeah, but I know, Wilf is awesome. It's the suit, I think. But, I mean, he's got, you know, Lucien's got a pretty good shirt. So I guess I should be starting to talk about stats, right? I'm glad that Lucien is ringing in our first monthly stats report, because we need music to regale us. Oh, you fucking cocksucker. Did that what... You know, I don't have a bottle opener. But you know what's good about that? Can I tell you what's good? While I go fetch a bottle opener, you know who'll keep you, dear viewers, occupied and entertained? Merci, Lucien. What, do you expect me to give a fuck that you guys are just, like, watching me go get a bottle from my fridge? Hell no! This is modern broadcasting and it's the internet. Nobody gives a fuck about anyone, so I do not care. I do not care. Fuck, man. Do we start with the patches thing first? I guess we should, because, if I'm gonna have a drink, the first drink should always be pour one out, so, thank you, Lucien. Time to turn you off for a little bit, okay, dude? Is it okay, dude? Thank you, Lucien. Yeah, man, we're gonna do patches. The pour one out segment is where we're at right now, and I don't know. I kind of wasn't sure if I wanted to do it or not, but I guess I'm doing it. My baby Patches passed away. She was a rescue, and I guess the reason it is that I'm talking to you about my dog on a vinyl program is because I think a lot of you will be able to relate to just the company of a pet. You know, while you're listening to those records and spinning those sides. When I'm playing my records, I get into a really nice zone, right? And it's nice to be left to your thoughts and kind of have liner notes to read and all, but it's really nice when you got a dog or a cat or any animal, really, a bunny, a chicken, you know, just to hang around with and listen to music. And last year, you know, we'd lost our basset hound, a dog that we'd gotten just before my daughter was born, you know, so she got old. And we're dog people, you know, we're pet people, so we got another dog immediately and rescued a beagle named Patches. And I believe those are the pictures that you're seeing there. And Patches, we don't know much about her. We didn't know much about her. We'd lost Sasha, and we knew that we had, you know, a place in our home for another dog. And we'd seen on one of the local Facebook community groups type of thing that this dog needed a home, because she belonged to an old woman who had developed dementia and could no longer care for her. So, you know, look at the pictures, you know. I knew she was an old dog. I didn't even know how old she was because nobody could really tell us, right? The woman had dementia, and there were no papers, so they estimated 10 or 11 years old. So we wanted to give her a little bit, we wanted her to basically enjoy the rest of her life, and we knew that we can provide her with a comfortable, happy house. And we took her in, and the sweetest animal. You know, not one of those animals that kind of like sticks to you all the time either, but just the type of animal that just follows you, just wants to be in the same room as you. So she'd start following me around, and I wound up spending days and days with her. I mean, while I'm, you know, working, she'd be there and keeping me company, and it's, you know, we're obviously not having a conversation, but she's on the couch, sleeping. Older dog, right? While I'm spinning my tunes and doing what I do. So we fast forward to last week, last Friday. Or actually, you know what? Let's fast forward to last Sunday. We'd just featured our first episode of What's in Your Cart. It's an episode which kind of is like Amoeba's What's in My Bag, but, you know, we pick records in an online shopping cart and spoke to Hessler, and it went really, really well. So the show after that felt nice to, you know, we're having a good time. Everything's great. So Sunday, I'm high on all this. It's fun. And we're about to sit to dinner. And it was going to be a pleasant dinner, and just as we sat, I'm not sure any of us even took a bite. We just started hearing ding, 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 the dog's chain, and didn't really think anything about it. And my wife just, you know, says, Patches is having a seizure. And never seen it, right? So we tried to calm her down, and it was a really strong seizure too. And it's hard to see. But instantly, you know, you don't know anything about any of this, so you look up Dr. Google, and you start looking up seizures, and see that not basset hounds, but beagles are prone to them. And she's an older dog, right? And we don't know how to do this because it's the first time we have this happen. And then a little while later, she has another seizure, smaller, but just another seizure. And when it was one, I wasn't sure. But as soon as it went into the second seizure, just emergency. You know, it was Sunday evening, so we have a 24-hour place, and straight to emergency. And now we're thinking, well, look, how the hell am I going to do this? I mean, someone's got to hold the dog, someone's got to drive. Okay, so I'm going to drive, and my wife's going to hold the dog, but we don't want my daughter to come, because if my daughter comes, she's going to be a mess, man. She's 11 years old. And we can't leave her at home because she'll freak by herself. So it's like, I don't really know what to do. So a local vinyl junkie, one of my very closest friends, Joe Mihalik, and I hope he's watching, you know, I called him because what the fuck do I do here? And asked him to drive me straight to the 24-hour vet. So, you know, he picks me up, and I'm holding my dog, and we're driving to the vet, and she's convulsing in my arms. The poor thing is convulsing in my arms, man. It's just breaking my heart, man, because I had her for 15 years, and, you know, she'd sit on the couch, and she'd keep me company, and we'd listen to the music together. She just, you fall in love with these animals, you know, and you take care of them, and it becomes such a privilege to take care of these animals, and you see how attached they become to you and how attached you become to them. But this dog is convulsing in my arms, and, so I took her to the vet, and, you know, I gotta give it to them. You know, we talk about the fact that they're crooks and stuff, but I brought him straight in, and immediately 4 people on top of my dog, trying to fix her up right away, one shaving the paw so that you can get IV in it, the doctor talking to me in a calm voice. And we get all of this done. You know, he tells me to go outside. The minute I get outside, I start fucking bawling, man. It's just, you know, I mean, look at me. I'm a big fucking guy, man. I look like a fucking ape, right? So I'm in a fucking vet's office here bawling, and it's like, I got my friend, I got Joe standing right in front of me, and, you know, I mean, what's he supposed to do? And everybody else must be thinking, holy fuck, right? So this is going on, and we left her there, and the medication seemed to calm down, you know, so I kiss her and I go, and the doctor said, you know, I pretty much told him, just call me any fucking time, man, when you need to. And I'm telling you right now, no matter, it's just, I am authorizing you to just put her to sleep if it just gets too much, right? And but she seems to be responding to the medication. So as I'm coming home, I realize how much I miss this animal, and she's still there. And I've told the doctor that, you know, the doctor should euthanize her if anything. So yeah, this is coming back to music somehow. She was my vinyl buddy. So driving home, I realized exactly how much I miss her, and you know, 10:30 at night, my phone rings, and the vet calls me to tell me that she's doing okay and she's responding. They're going to observe her. Then next morning, you know, I tell my wife that as I'm driving her to the train station, so I'm hopeful that I'm going to have her. It's like, hey, you know, maybe some meds and she'll be great. And because I realize, it's like, fuck, it's my vinyl buddy, man. She's... Cats don't give a fuck. Anthrax comes, he goes, he does what he wants. They're cats. Cats are assholes. We accept this. They own us. Dogs... She was my vinyl buddy. So I'm kind of hoping, you know, it's like, okay, medication, it's cool. And as I'm driving my daughter to school, you know, the phone rings in the car, and the vet starts talking to me, and automatically I'm beginning to realize it's not going well. So I ask him to stop and, you know, drop my daughter off and call immediately back, and start talking about maybe a brain tumor, and start talking about a whole bunch of things that tell me that we've been there, right? All of us. It's time. So as, you know, they're doing their job and they're trying to explain everything as much as possible, I interrupted the vet and, like, please, you know, if you don't mind, I'd like to interrupt you. She goes, okay, fine. Just, please, no more. Just put my buddy down. And, so, I had to put her down, and they had asked me if I wanted to go and say goodbye, and I said, no, I can't. I'm not. So I kind of feel bad, but maybe not so much, because it seemed absurd to me to have my dog sick and convulsing, and me have to drive to the vet just so that I can say goodbye. It seemed almost selfish, you know? So it's like, no. Just, you know? So, I'm not sure my life has ever been, so profoundly affected for a period of 15 months like what this dog meant to me, man. And, Vinyl Junkies started only last May, and, basically what I'm telling you is that, when this entire format, she's been there from the very beginning, and, she's not around anymore, so there's this big fucking void, and she's my vinyl buddy. And you know what, man? This one's for Patches and for all of your vinyl buddies, man. I know you guys got them. You love your animals. Post pictures. Fuck. I want to see the animals. We want to see the animals. And, cheers, Patches. I love you. All right. I suck. I suck. Wasn't sure whether I was gonna do that or not, but the fact is that it's been a real up and down week, and that was a huge part of the weekend. It affects your listening. And where it is that I do bring it back to vinyl is, you know, I did say vinyl buddy, but as all of this was happening, and, you know, you get over losing this member of your family, I started thinking back on the video that me and Matt made, me and Hessler made, What's in Your Bag? Not What's in Your Bag, but What's in Your Cart? And at one point, during the end, like the last 10 minutes or so, we start joking around about the fact that Patches is scratching because we hear her chain go crazy, right? So we start making jokes about her having fleas and she's scratching, and it seemed odd. And I guess in retrospect I realize now that she wasn't scratching, man. We may have noticed it only on Sunday, but my baby started convulsing on Friday, man, during that episode. So she's with me forever, man. I love that dog. I loved that dog, and it just makes you feel that much closer to the animals. So yeah, she's my animals seem to be inextricably attached to this show, from anthrax killing mice live while I'm broadcasting to Patches having her first you know, convulsion, and me losing her just a few days later. So that's the sad part of the show. I'm done with the sad part of the show. Shall we celebrate? I got good memories. She's awesome. Admit it, Lucien is awesome. Okay. So what we're gonna do now is finally talk about those October stats. How's that? Actually, what I'm going to do also is I'm gonna take Lucien off, and we're gonna kind of start the VJ reviews part. There's a now spinning part that we started doing here at the show. So sometimes you'll hear me play current music, and the reason I can do that is because some of our sponsors are kind enough to let us use their material and clear copyright, so it allows us to let you listen to these records for yourself instead of just listening to me tell you how awesome it is, you know. And if you like it, you listen to it, and if you don't, you don't, and you go buy it, and that's the way we support art. You gotta buy it, man. Artists, they gotta eat. Rents to pay, man. Heating bills, kids need shoes. Believe it or not. Don't let them, you know, okay. So, basically, where am I here? I always get lost on my tangents. So what happens is that we now are able to play some music for you of stuff that's more current. And this month, this week, I will be able to post an album by William Basinski, his last album, which is called A Shadow in Time. So this one came out earlier in 2017 on Temporary Residence Records, and it's actually quite amazing. And it'll just accompany us. What it is that you're listening to is Side 2, It's Coming, which is a tribute to Robert David Bowie. Pretty awesome. Listen to it for yourself, man. Don't take my word for it, right? Okay, where are we next? October stats. I guess I should finally get there. So, all this to say that really, with the format finally starting, all the shit starting to like iron out, it's the first month that I was able to take proper stats. So in compiling those stats, I'm not sure, man. A little while ago, a couple of weeks ago, all of a sudden, Mexican women just started loving me. There was this explosion of fucking hot Latin female MILF passion that started just seeping into this programming. And I became very popular, and the week after, the men started taking on, and I'm pretty sure it's because they all want to kick the shit out of me now because their wives are masturbating to my videos. So, October gives me my first real, you know, stats kind of thing, and the videos included not only these weekly shows, but they included, our first ever What's in Your Cart with Hessler. Watch it. Let me know what you guys think. And never forget that that fuck up in the sound is Hessler's fault. And you guys watched all of those shows 182,000 times. So, VJ's monthly viewership last month for October was 182,000 plus viewers. This is where it is that I should have that drop music right there, where we go dun 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 dun, dun. Mexican love, Mexican love. Te amos, all 182,000 lovely, lovely chicas. And in more kind of deep drill down stats, 550,000 impressions. I don't know what that means yet, but 550,000 impressions for the month seems really cool, so I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna puff up my chest and make it sound like, wow, look, it's big. And it might actually not mean anything. I'm just a simpleton, so the number 550,000 impresses me. So I just keep repeating it. Also, the forum, you see the forum? 100,000 reactions and kind of... The forum is busy as fuck. And it's incredibly cool to see the way it is that you guys have taken in all of this. Cool, man. we're not done. Look, there's so much more coming. Honestly, you just wait until the reviews come in. I've been working all week to try to get you guys to be able to live call. And I know that it can happen through Skype, but I'm just working things out because I'd love to have a conversation with you guys every once in a while, maybe, and see what that brings into the picture. You know, so it's being worked on. It's not there yet, but we're not done here. And, you know, I don't know how many of you watched that first episode in May, but as far as I'm concerned, man, this is still the core, and the core will always matter no matter what, man. So thank you, man. Thank you, man. Man, you notice I always say man all the time? Man! When my daughter was really, really young, and, you know, she hadn't gotten her words all together, instead of saying milk, she would say mang. So we knew that whenever she said mang, she wanted milk. So we'd go put milk in her little sippy cup, and we had to give the little brat mang, right? Half an hour later, how does she thank you? She shits her diaper. Who's got to clean that shit up? Well, fuck my wife, obviously, right? But who notifies? Me. Me. No. We play, you know. And she also used to call it milkalolis. So I'm not really sure where milkalolis came from, but all this is to say that an 11-year-old in this vicinity, in this house, lives an 11-year-old child who may know more about music than you and calls milk milkalolis. She is legend. She is legend. I'm not really sure why I did all of that and why I told you about all of that, especially as this somber tribute to David Bowie is playing in the background by William Basinski. Guys, I see how many shares there. I need more shares. Where are my share bears? Hey, where are the share bears? Share this link, you cocksuckers. Share it with your friends, then go pick a record. Or I'm not saying another motherfucking word. Share! Share! Do you believe in life after love? I can feel the things that's on inside. I really don't think I'm strong enough. Oh! Alright. Next week, Patches. So much fucking love for you, buddy. You were the best. The best. The best. The best. All dogs go to heaven. Know that. So now, we go into the Making Vinyl Conference, which is happening this week. You know what it is that I should do? It might be more professional. I mean, we know how important it is for me to be professional. We should maybe retire Lucien for a bit so that you can have a look at William Basinski's album cover. That's what you would look for, dear friends. That's A Shadow in Time. It's beautiful, admit it, right? It sounds like the kind of record to accompany a heroin trip. You know, take with a heavy dose of depression. Making Vinyl Conference is happening in Detroit this upcoming week, which is Monday and Tuesday. I will be on a big jet plane in just a few hours, and I will head to Detroit. So give me, what it is that I didn't do this online. I don't believe in that. What I did was I got on the telephone and I picked up and I called the airline, and she's there. Hello, how may I help you? So what I did is I went, give me the ticket for the aeroplane. Ain't got time to take a fast train. Only days are gone, I'm a-going home. My baby just wrote me a Detroit. So I'm going to the Making Vinyl Conference in Detroit, and Jack White's going to be talking, and fucking DMC from Run DMC is going to be talking, and Andrew Rossiter of Org Music is going to be talking, and we're going to put together all sorts of swell stuff, and there's people from Warner Brothers and people from the Vinyl Factory, and we're going to have a tour of the Third Man recording facilities. And Ben Blackwell, will also be a keynote speaker. And I'm looking forward to catching all of that, and I'm looking forward to spreading the love. And what it is that I'm going to do is I'm going to tell them, hey, Jeremy Ron, you don't need to know anything else other than Vinyl Junkies, 182,000. Or 550,000. Maybe I should just kind of like puff up the numbers, you know? So, we're gonna go there and we're gonna wheel and deal. But what it is that I'm doing is I'm getting there for Sunday. So does anyone live in Detroit Rock City? Because I would like to go record shopping. I'll be in early and I want to go shopping. I know that one of our DJ members, Daniel Satwitz, says that he works for one of the places in Ann Arbor. How close is Ann Arbor to the center? I don't know. But yeah, man, it's something that would be cool. And I think that it is just a confluence of things that make it like this. But as we speak, I do not own Detroit Rock City by the one and only Kiss in any format at all. I don't have it on record. I've had it forever, but I don't have it. Like a dumbass, I sold all my records ages ago. So I'm hoping that I can find a copy of Kiss Destroyer in Detroit Rock City, because in my little world, that would make my dreams come true. Like Hall & Oates. You make my dreams come true. Hoo, 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 hoo. Did you see that shit come out of my mouth? Dude, my mouth is so pasty. So, if you're at Making Vinyl this week, come say hi. I will have patches. You see those patches? Not my beautiful dog patches. The patches that you see on the screen. And stickers and all sorts of goodies. And, yeah. We might sing a few songs and have a few beers. And gosh darn it, it'll be fun. And are the Red Wings playing? Because watching a hockey game would be excellent. Or are there any shows? I don't know. So that's the Making Vinyl part of this. Now we're going to get into a rant. Oh no. He's going to get angry now. Make no mistake, I am completely cognizant of the fact that I do all this shit. I sound like a Tourette's patient. It is very unprofessional, and I must say that I feel deep shame every time I do it. I actually think that somehow it makes, like, it adds a certain je ne sais quoi to the show to I can grunt like an ape, you know, while talking to people. Never said I had manners. So what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about vinyls, can we? And why do people say vinyls? Why do people say vinyls? Oh my god, we hear it so much. Vinyls, 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 vinyls. Oh, it drives so many people crazy. Vinyls, vinyls. It is the bane of every vinyl collector's existence. Vinyls, it fucking drives some of you guys crazy. Let me explain it to you. Let me break down my idea of it. You see, in the Vinyl Junkies forum, this picture was put up, right? This dude invited his next door neighbors over, and They spread out a couple of records and listened to some records together. And he posted it up, and I'm not sure if you can see the picture well enough, but everyone loved the fucking thing. It represents everything we love, right? You have a friend come over, you crack open a couple of drinks, and, you know, Satan's cabbage, maybe, if you tend to veer a little bit towards the wild side. But, it's fun. So, to me... But you know what happens, right? This gentleman is of Latin extraction. So he said vinyls, and he put an S at the end. Now, of course, you got one guy who's got to come out and say vinyls, right? He's got to point it out. Everyone, it's a fucking great... Hey, welcome. Fun. This is great. Everyone's feeling good, but it's got to be the one fucking guy. The one... You know the guy, the ants in the picnic? That guy. He somehow thinks he's contributing to the conversation. So, vinyls. Okay? So, I responded. My response, and I mean, the reason it is that I'm reading it is not because I don't kind of remember it. It's just I would like to elaborate a little bit. So that, and I'll try to do it in, like, a logical way. So, tell me if I'm off. I mean, tell me, please, feel free. There's a comment section there. Feel free to tell me anything you want. Alright, so, my response is... Shit, I can't see with these glasses. Excuse me. Beautiful, eh? Look at those eyes. So my answer is, why do you have to be that guy? I won't name the guy. Why do you have to be that guy? In Spanish, it's vinilos. Plural. In French, it's vinyle. ES at the end. Also plural. In Italian, it's vinili, with an I at the end. Yep, you guessed it. Plural. Fact. The vast majority of people who get snarky about the vinyls thing speak only one language, and that one language is English. Don't be that guy. He ain't as smart as he thinks he is. So, what it is that I'm saying is, technically speaking, people speak a variety of languages, right? So I know that when I try to speak Spanish, I make a ton of mistakes. I do. It's not the language that I know best, but once I start talking, I begin getting used to it. But the thing is that I'll make a ton of mistakes. Now, the thing is that you see in a variety of cultures, I speak 3 languages fluently and I destroy Spanish, okay? So, English, the plural of vinyl is vinyl. We know that, right? And there's an endless parade of people who are so fucking ready to make a meme about it and like, you know, look at me! The vinyl, you know? It's kind of like Barry Jive and the Uptown 5 and fucking High Fidelity. The fat kid in the fucking shop. That guy. Okay, so he sticks it in your face. Now, in English, I agree. But the thing is that, you see, here in Quebec, we speak, a lot of us are bilingual. Most of us, as a matter of fact, okay? And, in French, vinyl, with an ES at the end, with an S at the end, plural, is correct. It's correct. So the S at the end, actually, it's ES. It's correct. So, Italian is with an I at the end. That's another thing altogether. We don't see enough of that, but believe me, if we saw enough vinili posts, there would be a meme about it. I promise, I promise. There would be a meme. Now, we get to Spanish, right? And it's vinilos. Now, I'm trying to think, right, as somebody whose first language is not English. Okay, I'm going to do something and post in a community which communicates in English and do something nice like this. And my first language is in English. So I put an S at the end and it's vinyls. Now, generally speaking, when you see that S in the end, that's usually the first indication that you're talking to somebody who, or, you know, somebody who, the person who's communicating doesn't speak English as a first language, because guess what? If you're under the impression, I mean, listen, we know that you've taken the time to make a meme out of it, and you're that guy. You know, you're that guy, the fucking obvious one. There's always one who's got to do it, right? And then it starts the whole fucking hate train about, ooh, vinyls, vinyls, vinyls. But that guy. So, yeah, man, French, there's an S at the end. And Spanish, there's an S at the end. And when you see somebody put an S at the end of vinyls, what it means is two things. Okay, the first thing that it means is that the person who posted speaks more than one language, and he is attempting to communicate in English and perhaps not doing the perfect job, not grammatically, right? So he or she speak more than one languages. That's the first fact. The second fact is all the dumbasses that need to point out that the plural of vinyl is vinyl without the S at the end. Those dumbasses speak one language only. That language is English. It's a great language. But we know that they're fucktards because they speak one language and they're actually arrogant enough to get all huffy about the way somebody else writes. So, pick up another language. Or maybe just stop being an asshole. It's an international community, the internet, you know? And it's a lot more pleasant when people are nice to each other. So, when somebody puts an S at the end and it's vinyls, don't be that guy. Come on, man. Don't be that guy. That guy speaks more languages than you. That gal, she speaks more languages than you. She may be more intelligent than you. And she's not as arrogant. So that's my rant. See, I didn't even get angry. Let's continue. Shall we? What's next on this agenda of mine? We're going to do VJ reviews. VJ reviews require for me to do little different thingies here. So you're going to bear with me, okay? And there. And that should be... Welcome to the VJ Reviews segment of this Vinyl Junkies program. We will start, first off, we will start with a review of some material that came in from Run Out Groove. To say that it's an interesting label is an understatement. And I haven't really found the way to properly explain what their deal is, but I'll try. I have a feeling that it'll take me a while before I really get it properly. But what it is that we're going to review is this. Some of you guys, if you already went to shopping yesterday, I believe it dropped in the record stores yesterday, but the Funhouse sessions of Iggy and the Stooges, I'll be talking about this one, and I could not possibly recommend this record more. But here's the basic concept. Run Out Groove has access to a huge archive of music. Okay, the Warner Brothers catalog, the Rhino catalog, just an enormous catalog of music. And a lot of that stuff is just, you know, hasn't ever been released on vinyl, whatever the case may be. So what it is that they do is they put together this label, Run Out Groove, and they do this monthly thing where they choose 3 albums and let the fans who visit choose which album for that month they would like to see pressed on vinyl. Very often some of this stuff gets a first time ever vinyl pressing, such is the case with this Stooges, and it may be the greatest reissue I've heard all year, but we'll see. It's definitely right up there immediately, but so what happens is they got these 3 records and you choose, and the record with the most votes that people, you know, basically committed to, that's the record that gets pressed. And those records are then foil stamped and individually numbered and sent out to the fans who voted for it. So very exclusive. Now, when that happens, you're telling yourself, okay, but wait a second. I just saw this Stooges record in the record store, or you will be seeing it, right? The reason is that they got a twofold strategy, and I think this is a really cool thing, right? Because what they do is they let in this community aspect of choosing the record and getting what you want. But once that's all done, they print up another run that is not numbered, and they put those out to the retailers. So the records that you'll see are exactly the same record, but they're not that first voted upon edition, right? It's stuff after the fact. Personally, I don't care. I really don't. But I do think, however, that it's a really cool way to serve the vinyl market. And, you know, they sent a pack of 4. They sent 4 records. It was fun, right? When you get that message through UPS and it says, okay, you're expecting a box, and it's like 6 pounds. So, ooh, this is going to be fun. I like 6 pounds of records. I do. So, it comes in 4 records are there. Secret Machines and Dream Syndicate. Secret Machines, which I had already spoken about, a Texas trio. But 2 that I hadn't, which is one of them is this Stooges record, and then the second one is Morphine live at the Warfield, which I'll talk about right after that. The thing with this Stooges record is Funhouse is, I mean, legendary. Depends who you speak to. A lot of people quote Raw Power as the big record. And I mean, that's certainly the record that launched Iggy in the eyes of a lot of people, but a lot of us, me definitely, Funhouse is the sweet spot. Maybe it's the jazz thing for me. You know, the saxophone makes it so that that's the record I always returned to. Now, this record was released in 1970, and it's noisy as fuck. But I mean, and it's out there. They've released it already on CD, but these sessions took up 13 reels of tape. Okay. So they basically recorded 12 reels, and then the 13th reel is the reel that they used to make what was to become Funhouse. Now, that's a lot of material, and it's all the background chatter, it's everything, right? Extended versions. It's all professionally recorded, firstly. And it's fucking phenomenal. I mean, if you like the album versions, to hear extended versions of 1970 is a fucking dream come true. Now, they did put out, Rhino did put out a 7 CD complete Funhouse sessions on CD. But the thing is, in order to do that on vinyl, 7 CDs is going to be a fuckload of vinyl. So unless they kind of do it in volumes or whatever, it becomes prohibitively expensive to make the record come out. So during one of their records of the month, Run Out Groove decided to compile some tracks from those tapes and make a double LP. And this is the double LP. And it's essential, man. There's no other way, man. It's essential. It's essential. As a matter of fact, if you ask me, as like a real aficionado of Funhouse, I think this record is more necessary than the Stooges' first record, for my taste, for sure. But if you're looking for just noisy attitude, Funhouse. It makes me proud that Funhouse came out in 1970. It makes me proud that loud, ballsy, fucking uncommercial music like that just came out. And to have more of it is... To have that arrive to my door is the reason that I do this, man. Run Out Groove doesn't fuck around with quality. So you're talking like Stoughton tip-on sleeves, which is... whenever you see Stoughton, what it means is the good shit, but... Check it, man. Really. Colored vinyl, yada, all the rest of that stuff as well. But it's not the type of thing that's only for completists, is what it is that I'm trying to say. I think that it's an essential part of the catalog. And if they ever decided, if Warner ever decided to put out the complete Funhouse sessions, like kind of like in boxes, Sort of like, you know, they did Music on Vinyl, did that with the Miles Davis bootleg series, right? Different volumes. That's something that I would pick up. There's no doubt. It's professionally recorded. It's great. It's got attitude. It's everything that you would want good outtakes or sessions to be. It's not just garbage, is what I'm saying. So that, friends, is my review of the Stooges Funhouse. We're going to move on, okay? It's really unprofessional, the way like I just click the mouse. Let's put some more music on. All right. We are going to move on. You're listening to Basinski again, but we're going to move on to the second review, another Run Out Groove review. And this one was really the one that I was looking most forward to, because I can assure you that what happened right now, as I just posted that Morphine picture up there, is there are some people who just fucking let out a bitch squeal. It's like, Morphine! Because they're that good. A trio made up of a sax player, a drummer, and a 2-string bass player that doesn't sound like anything that came out during the 90s during that time. Certainly not grunge, but still heavy as fuck, and with as much attitude and panache and swagger as fucking the best Tom Waits you'll ever find. Cure for Pain is one of my favorite records of the 90s. Simple. And I think it's a masterpiece. And you can't even call it a genre, because Morphine is a genre on its own. So any chance at getting more Morphine is something that I welcomed greatly. So they didn't release too many records, right? Mark Sandman basically collapsed on stage and died on stage during a concert in Italy. So anytime we get some new material from Morphine, those that really dig what they're about. I never had a chance to watch them live. I wish I could claim that I did, but never saw them live. But anytime you get new material from Morphine, it's a big deal. Now, the deal is also that they were sticklers for the quality of the recording, right? So they took the time to make sure that they recorded everything properly, and they wanted to capture the room. You know, they put time into it. So you're getting a really well-recorded record if Morphine is your thing. It's fun, you know, it captures a certain ambience in the room there at the Warfield, and as I dropped the needle, you know, started singing immediately. Boing, a boing, a boing, a boing, a good, good. French fries and pepper. They do them all, man. And I wasn't around, like when it is that Run Out Groove came onto my radar. This one had already been voted into the Morphine record, right? So I was excited as shit to get it. That was like the big one for me, and it's here. I believe, if I'm not wrong, you should be seeing live at the Warfield next week. Should be coming out next week. So if you see it, straight up, Run Out Groove is quality. They don't mess around with garbage, whether it be digital or analog. They always make sure they get the best source. The vinyl is cut well. It's quality all the way around, right down to the anti-static sleeves inside type of thing. If you like Morphine, I'm not sure that you're going to go too wrong here. Now, where else are we? Okay. I guess what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of sort of do a review of Johnny Griffin, but it's not really a review. The reason it is that I put that there is simply because I think it's a great record, and it's the latest post-bop record, or should I say hard bop record that I received. So what it is that I thought I would do is, because that record is available in the Vinyl Me Please shop, hey, if you guys are jazz people, go pick it up, and I can say with certainty that it's an amazing pressing. It is part of what it is that I'm going to be talking about now, which is a Vinyl 101 segment on hard bop. Let me have a drink. So when that came through, and you're going to be seeing it float through now, actually. So here's the Jazz 101 with Hard Bop as the first one. This came through. It was an exclusive pressing through the VMP store. They did that whole 2 LP 45 RPM thing, and the record sounds amazing. Now, I'm not one who pays attention too much to categories, so post bop, hard bop, all these terms, you know, to say that I really got into the minutia is not something that I ever really did, and to be able to say that I kind of differentiated, no, not really. It never mattered, I guess, right? But a funny thing happens when you deal with Discogs and when you're dealing with records all the time, right? You're putting it in and you're constantly researching this stuff. The terms come up, and eventually, look, at some point, just from force of seeing it all the time, you start getting curious about it. And I got curious about, hard bop. Why hard bop? So I looked it up, and the reason it is that I looked it up is because as I was putting in this Johnny Griffin record, again, it came up so hard bops. And okay, you know what? I've reached a point where I've got over 500 jazz records now. A nice beefy jazz catalog. And I like a lot of things, so I just kind of put it together and I listen. Once you build a catalog, once you build an archive like that, it's like having it's like the vinyl Dumbledore, man. You just go in and you approach the catalog in a different way. So for me, I really liked seeing a term like hard bop, not because it mattered to me, but because it allowed me a different context to dig into my collection. And just to give you a bit of information, hard bop, by the way, there is an Art Blakey album which should be flipping through in the carousel there, but that's Art Blakey is a huge player in the hard bop movement. And I'll read the notes and expand upon those. Okay, according to Nat Hentoff, in his 1957 liner notes, he used to write liner notes for Blue Note. According to Nat Hentoff, in his 1957 liner notes for the Art Blakey, Columbia LP, okay, entitled Hard Bop, you'll be seeing it. The phrase was originated by music critic and pianist John Megan, jazz reviewer of the New York Herald Tribune at the time. Hard bop first developed in the mid-1950s and is generally seen as originating with the Jazz Messengers. So when you talk about really the godfathers of that entire thing, you're always looking at about the mid-50s, okay, and there's a reason why it came to be. Maybe I'll put the notes down and just have them fill in, and I'll just kind of like riff at this point. But two of the players that immediately come up are Art Blakey and his pianist, his pianist Horace Silver. They helped kind of look, it's a misnomer. It's not fair to call it a language. It isn't, right? But jazz really got big. Charlie Parker fucking exploded jazz, right? He literally shaped the language. He changed everything, so much so that everybody tried to sound like Charlie Parker. You know, it's kind of like the same story as the Jaco Pastorius thing. Jaco Pastorius, not the guy who shot his girlfriend with the legs. You know, people used to break their thumbs to try to get his sound. Well, you know, people would go so far as to fucking get hooked on heroin. And it's been suggested that Chet Baker was one of those guys. But, you know, because they thought maybe it's the heroin that would let them play like Charlie Parker. But what wound up happening there is that a lot of people just kind of got tired of it, or just they wanted to do something a little bit different. So they wanted to get back to the rhythmic black elements of music. So we're talking gospel and blues and R&B, and Miles Davis was very much a big part of that as well. I mean, the guy was born in St. Louis. You know, his father was a dentist. He was very pro-black, but, you know, he came from a well-to-do family, so he kind of bristled against the idea of just classical being considered this legit art form. So bringing American and African music into the whole thing and making it swing a little more is where hard bop comes in. So players would be someone like Johnny Griffin. So this record would kind of be an example of hard bop. And as I was looking at all of that, it was kind of, you know, I did my research online, looking at all things and all the albums that they were mentioning, and I realized that I had a whole bunch of it. So what I did in preparation for this is I pulled out all the albums in my post-bop collection according to these articles. I read about 5 articles there, so it's not enormous research, but I spent a couple hours on it. And realized I had so many of them. First off, the one that's on right now, I thought I had that Sonny Rollins record, and I realize I don't. So now this becomes absolutely necessary for me to find a copy of. Ditto for the Freddie Hubbard. I never owned that one, but you know, I had them on CD, and now I don't have them on LP. You know how that goes. I'll get them eventually, but I realized that I had a whole ton of them. So another thing. A lot of things have been said about how hard bop came to be. Once the mid-60s started coming around, then things started going in a completely different direction, and fusion came to be, and so forth. Okay, let me read from my notes, and then we'll riff from there. You know, like Angus Young. No. Okay. So both Art and Horace here, they're talking about, you know, what they consider kind of like the beginnings of that. Both Art Blakey and Horace Silver were very, very aware of what they wanted to do. They wanted to get away from the jazz scene of the early 50s, which was the Birdland scene. You hire Phil Woods or Charlie Parker or J.J. Johnson. They come and they sit with the house rhythm section. They only play blues and standards that everyone knows. There's no rehearsal. There's no thought given to the audience. Both Horace and Art knew that the only way to get the jazz audience back and make it bigger than ever was to really make music that was memorable and actually meant something, not somebody who was just going through the steps, right? And by this time, Charlie Parker was very much a shadow of himself. I mean, completely ravaged by heroin, you know, nodding off on stage. So he wasn't getting the respect he used to once upon a time. So where you consider the audience and keep everything short. They really liked digging into blues and gospel, things with universal appeal, so they put together what was to be called the Jazz Messengers. Okay. I mean, in there, the catalogs you should be looking at most when you're looking at hard bop, okay? We've named a couple of them, but Miles Davis, for example, is definitely somebody that you want to look into. So if you see Miles Davis, there's the 4 albums, the Workin', Steamin', Spunkin', I don't remember the 4 of them, but I used to have Relaxin' and another one, right? Those records are very much part of that. The one that seems to be mentioned the most is Walkin'. That was the 4th one, Walkin' with the stoplight. That's a pretty good example, a pretty accurate example of what you could expect from post-bop, right? So it swings, you know, when you get that jazz that kind of like you can snap your finger to, and it's kind of like moving along, and there's an edge to it that makes you maybe want to dance. There you go, man. The labels you should probably look at is Prestige. A lot of the Prestige stuff was being recorded during that time with the players of the time, and they worked together a lot. So you'll see Monk playing with Rollins, playing with Coltrane, playing with everything in between, man. Mingus, name it, right? And then you got the, what's it called, the Blue Note catalog with the Freddie Hubbards of the picture, and I believe Jimmy Smith actually was there as well. But and Columbia with people like Art Blakey, obviously, but also Charlie Mingus. I don't know. Charlie Mingus, I guess, would be an example, but that's almost another language altogether, right? But you want to hear gospel and blues, man? Mingus 1959. If you don't have it in your collection, that's definitely Jazz 101. You want that. So that's my bit on hard bop. I think I'm done, guys. Behind the Shadow Drops is what you're hearing, so I'll put it up a little, okay? And I noticed that I've forgotten to turn off the camera twice, 2 weeks in a row, so I guess we'll make it the traditional send-off from now on, and you'll see me kind of like turn off lights and as the music plays off. So if you enjoy it, this is William Basinski's 2017 release, A Shadow in Time. The entire side B, I believe, was recorded in a cathedral, and it is a tribute to Mr. Robert David Bowie. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me look at comments. Okay, I'll pick one of you. Hey, maybe somebody even sent notes. Did they? American. Okay. Somebody complaining about hipsters. Don't complain about hipsters. That's the other big fucking stereotype. Everyone complaining about hipsters. Okay. Just picking winners. I mean, hey, the music is entertaining you, right? So listen to the music and just wait. You gotta be patient. Music. It really is a good reason to just make you hear the music. It's awesome. Again, man, thanks to temporary residents, Jeremy there and Tommy. Thanks, man. It's very cool, and I hope a jillion people go out and buy William Basinski records because of it, because this is a very cool, not pushy, garbage way of letting people hear the stuff for themselves, you know? So, we got names in front of us. And we got shares. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the shares. How's that? Because I see you guys. Ooh, all right. Brianne Risher. My friend Brianne Risher. You are fucking awesome. And you win any record you want from the Vinyl Me Please shop. Go pick yourself that Johnny Griffin record and realize that your nipples will explode with hard bop passion. It is great. It is excellent. It is analog. It is produced so fucking well. You win, Brianne Risher. You do. You do. Sayonara, folks. Put up the music for you, okay? Turn off the mic.